Thank you for purchasing my Ultimate Finance Tracker. I made this YouTube video to help guide you on how to use this template. So once you've downloaded the PDF, navigate to the very first page of the document and click on this text. It should take you to this web page. All you have to do here is make a copy. Once that's done, open up the finance tracker from your Google Sheets. The very first page that should open up should be your dashboard. Right now, this page is pretty blank because there's no information provided by you just yet. It would fill up as you go. So, unfortunately, Google Sheets automatically zooms out or super zooms in the sheets. So, to zoom this back in or zoom out, all you have to do is go to these three dots and either zoom in or zoom out according to your preference. Next, you should see another sheet called example. This is just to provide you with an example of what a filled in worksheet would look like. Um, so you can just look around to kind of give you ideas on what you would like yours to look like. Next, you should see a blank version of your example sheet, which is essentially your version of your finance tracker. So to start off, I have also provided some guidelines at the side to highlight the things that are editable and should be edited by you. If it's not highlighted, do not edit, as there are some calculations that are embedded in these worksheets. So after checking this to start, all the things to be edited are highlighted. The next step is to um, choose what month you would like to start. Based on when you get this sheet, would be the month you desire to start. I have all the options here for you. So you can choose whatever month you would like to start. Once that's done, you should check this off and the highlight feature on that cell will be removed. The next step asks you to check this after categories have been added. These are the categories. The cells in cell B are categories, as well as the headings of these little boxes are what we call categories. And each category in cell B attached to a small box below. The first category is actually starting balance. This is just useful for if you have remaining cash from the previous months that you would also like to input in your budgeting for the next month. So we'll leave that for now. The first cell or your category to be edited is the income. I would advise that you leave this be because income is going to be relevant throughout your sheet. I would advise instead that you edit from here down if you have anything to edit. For me, I usually like my expenses, my spending divided into my variable expenses, my savings, my investments, subscriptions, and sinking funds. If you would like to edit them to suit your own desires, perhaps you don't have savings plans or you don't have plans for investment, all you have to do is delete this box and copy this and take it there and move them up. Please be mindful that once you delete a cell and you move the rest up, you would also have to edit the boxes as each cell is attached to each box. So if you delete investments from B23 and you put subscriptions, you would have to change the heading of investments here to match subscriptions as well, etc. I'm going to leave it as it is. Another thing I would be mindful to change is the subscriptions box, just because I have already made some automated functions right here such that when you've made the payment, all you have to do is check these boxes for them to be in your transactions table. So once you've edited your categories and the categories in the B cells, in the B column, as well as the headers, then you can check that box. As you can see, the highlight function on those cells have now been removed. The next thing to do is to look at subcategories. Subcategories are the categories in each category box, which is why I was saying you had to edit the heading, because each subcategory is attached to a particular category. So me personally, these are my sources of income. So I have my allowance, my paycheck, my alawi as I'm a copper, and then my gifts if like someone randomly gives me gifts. And then for my variable expenses, this is what I also have. You can also edit these ones to, perhaps you have rent. I don't have rent because I live with my parents, but you can swap out perhaps entertainment for rent. All you have to do is click on the cell and type rent. If you change anything in your subcategory, that's fine. You don't have to change it anywhere else. So yeah, you can increase the cells, reduce the cells. If you have more subcategories that are provided in these cells, all you have to do is right click or double click if you use a Mac, and then say insert row above and another cell. So if I do that, and another cell will come right above where this is. So once you've edited the rest, I also have a savings. So you can change this, perhaps you use Cowrywise or something. You can change this to whatever savings, banking, or whatever you use. And then also I have something for stocks and crypto, as well as subscriptions. You can change this to match your subscriptions that you currently use, and sinking funds. I love sinking funds because I use them to stash money for later, especially for things like celebrations, because people's birthdays always comes up, and I'll just rather have a fund that is just for people celebrating people's birthday, like buying gifts, dinners, stuff like that. So after you're done editing your subcategories, you should go and check it off the to-do list, and that should remove the highlight color on the subcategories. So the next thing is your budget allocation. Your budget allocation is kind of the most important fact in this sheet. So this is when we come back to the starting balance. So if this is your very first month planning with the sheet, it's probably not relevant for you. But so I'll come back to this again at the end. So the first thing here is income. You actually don't budget your income here, as that is calculated based on your total income for your subcategories. So if, for example, your allowance is 150, your paycheck is 120, alawi is for now 33k, could become 77, we're really hopeful, and then for now you don't have any gifts, or you don't have any, there's no probability that you'll be getting any gifts, you can leave that blank. So as you can see, your total income is 303, and so that reflects here as 303. One thing I like to do personally, I don't like budgeting money that I don't have. So although my budget for my income is 303, my actual income is still 0. So if I should budget something now, this is going to read that I have over allocated my expenses. So let's say my variable expenses, I want to budget to spend 200,000. Just click the cell and input the amount. As you can see, it immediately says over allocated by 200,000. This is because I don't have the money yet. So to impute the money, so if you've been paid, the way to go about this is going all the way to the transactions table, inserting. So if you double click, the picker should appear. Say you've been paid on the 13th of February, and you give a description for the transaction. So this would be paycheck. Here, you just have to click on income. As you can see, this contains all the different categories. So if you had edited it here, it would edit as well in here. So this is income. My subcategory for this is my paycheck. And I was actually paid. Let's say I wasn't paid how much I actually budgeted for, and I was paid less, maybe because of tax. So I'm paid 110. Right here, it shows that my income was less than how much I was actually allocating. So you can see the difference of 10,000 naira. And right here now, my actual income is saying that I actually received 110. And so it's no longer saying over allocated by 200, but rather 90, because I still have a windfall of 90. So I'm just going to fill in the rest of my income, and like I've actually received the money to be able to properly allocate my budget. So now, as you can see, my actual is updated to show that I've actually had 237,000 as my actual income. And now, also updates here. So now I have 30. So now my total income that I've actually received is 237,000. And so that is how much I should estimate to budget. So I budget based on my actual and not based on my budget, because what if you don't get the money you expected to get? However, if you would like to budget based on your budget and not the sum in the budget cell and not in the actual cell, just send me a DM or send me a message. You can send me a DM on Instagram or you can send me an email and I'll tell you how to go about that. But now, based on the 237, this says total income has not been fully allocated, 237 left to be allocated. So now I have 237 to allocate. So let's say for my variable expenses, I would rather have 150 for my variable expenses. I have 87,000 left to allocate. So let's put 30 towards my savings. My investments, let's put another 20. And then for subscriptions, we can put another 20. And then the remaining 17,000, I'll just put that in my sinking funds. Oh, I put 100 in. So now it says total income has been allocated. So based on that, you can now split this money into your subcategories. So as you can see, for my variable expenses, I have 150 to allocate. So for my groceries, I want to spend about 70,000 on groceries this month. So now it's telling me I have 80,000 left to allocate. For my transports, I want to spend about 30. Eating out, I don't want to eat out too much this month, so we can put a cheeky 20. So we have 30 left to allocate. I don't have rent, so I'm going to leave that blank. My hygiene and skincare, I don't really think I'm going to buy any hygiene or skincare product this month. And then so I can put the rest of the money into my miscellaneous expenses. This is just to cover things that aren't budgeted for. Perhaps you go to a cyber cafe to print something out, or you go somewhere, essentially somewhere that you didn't think you would need to budget for. You just put that in there. So this is just like money to spend on other things not allocated. So you would do the same thing for the rest of the boxes. So let's just quickly do this, the rest of them. So one thing I need to add is for the subscriptions, I have a date, a date column. So you can put when that bill is meant to be due. So let's say the bill, because I'm doing this video in February, so if I put any date before, it's just going to say unpaid. So let's say the next bill is in 7th of March. So it will tell you how many days you have left till when the bill is to be paid. And if the date has passed and you haven't paid, it would say not paid. So you can just put whatever dates your bills are meant to be paid. And then just gonna fill this in. And note, once you have a budget more than was assigned to that category, it would show you here that you've gone over budget. So I've gone over budget by 90, so that means this is 10. So now you can see it's back to normal. So to keep track of your finances, every time you make a transaction, you just have to log it into the table. So say on the 19th, I went for lunch with my friends. This will be classified as variable expenses. This will be classified as eating out. And let's say I spent 5,000. So as you can see, this already shows that I've spent 5,000. So this is how much I have left to spend, and it's showing me my progress until when I've spent the total amount budgeted for that month. So now that we've done our budget, let's take that off. So now this is clear. This is what your finance tracker should look like once you filled it in. And you can just delete this. You can delete this by holding your mouse and selecting every cell and deleting, and command / if you use a Mac. And if you don't use a Mac, you can just go to format and clear formatting. So that should remove whatever was there, and you should have a clear tracker. So another thing, so I'm just gonna show you another thing. Once you've checked this off, meaning you've paid for the item, the transaction database automatically populates with the information. All you have to do is select which subcategory that is, and yeah. So let's do log some other transactions, the rest of them. Light pink shows your budget and the dark pink shows actual. So you can also track your spending based on your budget. And it also automatically updates the information here. Because we've started filling out information, our dashboard is also updating. So this is just, you can filter this to show you for a particular month. Right now, we only have for the month of February. Another thing is once you change the name here, you should also rename this as well. You should rename the sheet to whatever month that is. And so this is for the month of February. If you have other months, you can filter based on that month. You can also filter based on the year. So that's about that. You don't really have anything to do here except to see a monthly or yearly overview of your transactions. The only other thing you have here is if you would like to change your currency from Naira to any other currency, all you have to do is click on the drop down, selecting from the list of currencies. So that's the end of the overview. One thing I will recommend is before filling in the budget for the very first month, you duplicate it after you filled in the subcategories and the categories. That way you don't have to fill them in each month. So to create subsequent months, all you have to do is right click on the sheet and duplicate. And then once that's done, you have the same information as your previous sheet, and you just rename it to whatever month, rename the sheet name here, and update the relevant cells. Which is why I say that instead of filling in the months, you can duplicate the very first sheet after you filled in the categories and just label it something like template or original. That way you don't have to be deleting the informations here before using the sheet. So that's all. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, any issues, be sure to reach out. I'll be there to answer your questions. Bye.